You didn't ruin the relationship. You ruined the control they had over you. And deep down, they knew that from the very beginning. You keep replaying the conversations in your head. The arguments. The silence. The moments where they looked at you like you were impossible to love. And somehow, you became the villain in a story you were bleeding to survive. You apologized for things you didn't even understand. You questioned your memory, your reactions, your worth. You started saying things like, maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I expect too much. Maybe I'm the reason everything falls apart. But that confusion, that constant self-doubt, that wasn't an accident. Because healthy love doesn't leave you terrified of saying the wrong thing. It doesn't make you rehearse conversations in your head before speaking. It doesn't punish you with distance every time you express pain. What happened to you was conditioning. Slow. Subtle. Psychological. At first, they studied you. Your wounds. Your kindness. Your need to be understood. And then they built a relationship around those things. Not to protect you. To control you. That's why the beginning felt so intense. So unreal. Like finally being chosen. They mirrored you. Matched your emotions. Made you feel deeply seen. But it was never connection. It was access. Because once they learned what mattered to you, they learned what could hurt you. And that's when the shift happened. The warmth became distance. The affection became confusion. The reassurance became criticism. But never all at once. That's the part people don't understand. If they were cruel from the start, you would have left. So they gave you just enough love to keep chasing the version of them that never really existed. That's the trauma bond. Not love. Withdrawal. You weren't addicted to them. You were addicted to the relief. The rare moments they became soft again. The moments they finally texted back. Finally apologized. Finally acted like the person you met in the beginning. But those moments were not proof of love. They were resets. Designed to keep you emotionally attached after the damage was done. And every time you tried to speak up, they flipped it back onto you. Suddenly you were dramatic. Negative. Hard to love. Your pain became the problem. Their behavior became your responsibility. So you worked harder. Explained more. Forgave faster. Stayed quieter. You abandoned yourself trying to keep the peace with someone who only felt powerful when you were emotionally unstable. Read that again in your mind. They needed your confusion. Because clarity threatens manipulation. That's why they hated your boundaries. Why they became cold when you started noticing patterns. Why your healing made them uncomfortable. A narcissistic person does not want mutual understanding. They want emotional control. And the moment you stopped carrying all the blame, the illusion started breaking. That's why they called you selfish when you chose yourself. Why they accused you of changing. You did change. You stopped accepting emotional punishment as love. You stopped begging for basic respect. You stopped shrinking just to make someone else feel bigger. And maybe the hardest truth is this. You were never fighting for the relationship. You were fighting for the person they pretended to be in the beginning. But that person only existed long enough to gain your trust. That's why nothing you did was ever enough. Because the problem was never your loyalty, your patience, your love. The problem was that you believed empathy could heal someone who was using it against you. And now you sit there wondering why you still feel broken after giving everything you had. Because being emotionally manipulated changes the way you see yourself. It teaches you to distrust your instincts, to question your reality, to carry guilt that was never yours. But hear this carefully. The fact that you kept trying to understand them, while they kept trying to control you, is proof that you were never the narcissist in the relationship. You were the one trying to save it. They were the one teaching you to disappear. And once you finally see that clearly, you stop mourning the relationship. You start mourning the version of yourself that accepted less than love and called it home.